finally getting back to me, my art. All I want to do is art. And the other thing is that I love stories. So like, to me, art is in everything. Your art is your voice, your speaking, your connection. You can feel everyone's energy. That's your art. It's the art of living to me. So art and hustle to me is the art of living, and art of it and everything.
I hope that you've cut that piece right there and make it your intro and your outro, because that was dope.
What's going on, guys? This is Ligardy of Ligardy's Hats coming to you guys live from JJ Hat Center. We have an exclusive interview with Miss Artandhustle herself, Lindalcheung. She has me on Zoom right now. We're only going to be seeing things from my perspective, but we're going to hang out here with her tonight. We're going to talk about some cool things.
We're an evolution as artists.
Yeah.
We're going to constantly be an evolution of the artists that came before us.
Exactly.
That's what inspiration is about. Now we're in the realms of people getting mad, taking this and taking that. If you're not making art in any capacity to influence and what's the word I'm looking for? Inspire people.
Inspire people. Yeah, that's the whole point.
What are you doing?
Yeah, exactly.
You making art to be selfish? You're making art for yourself? No, you make art for other people. So I make this for the people.
Share it and inspire.
Take my idea and make it better if you can.
That's literally the whole point, and that's literally how I get inspired to do things. Because if someone did something that inspired me, and then I can do it better,
right?
Like, you inspired me that I want to do it, and then I want to put my Lindalcheung stamp on it. So I mean, technically these days everyone's done everything, but it's also how did you do it? How did Ligardy do it? How did Linda do it? And that's how we make it unique. So that's also one advice that I would give to people. Is some people are hesitant and stop themselves from doing something because they're like, oh, well, everyone's got a podcast. Oh, well, someone else already designed it, or they're this type of art, but they should do it anyway, because if it speaks to you and it speaks to your soul, you should do it anyway, because it's going to be unique to you.
Exactly. And that's the thing. It's just like we're taking the concept of you simply buying a hat, and now you're buying your hat. You know what I'm saying? No other hat. If you choose to maximize what the concept of Ligardy hat is, you'll never walk outside and find somebody wearing the same shit you're wearing. And that's what everybody is afraid of in the world of fashion, is bumping into somebody wearing the same outfit as theirs. Not with my hat. Even if the fit's the same, your shape is going to definitely be different. Every shape is unique to you because it's unique to your crown shape. It's unique to your head shape. So, there is no biting, there is no stealing, there is no taking. You got your hat concept and I got mine. And unless it's shaped specifically by me, it's just another hat.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's kind of like Erykah Badu and her hats. She makes her wardrobe, her hats, her accessory, her jewelry unique to her.
Exactly.
So that's what I see for yours too. Like, your hats are going to be unique to each individual. So like, since this COVID had happened, I had that idea. I'm like, well, I can't do that right now because of COVID. What else can I do? That's how the podcast started. If I can't get to all the artists, we're going to do it on Zoom. And so that's how the podcast started, where I'm like, well, I'm just going to do on Zoom. What can I do that's free? I'm going to do Zoom that's free. And we're just going to use my Mac, computer. And then I'm going to teach myself how to do, the edits. And that's how I did the ground running. So it's like over 100 podcasts that I did. And it's just going to keep going. And I feel like it's like an endless project, because I love hearing people's story. And to me, like, art is healing, and I feel like every story will help, and every story will help. So one of the questions I also ask people is like, how did art save you?
How did art save me? I grew up in Bushwick, when Bushwick was really Bushwick, before everything went down. It was so Bushwick, I decided that I had to leave to find somewhere else because things seemed so desolate, right? Art saved me by making me feel like, it's just like, until you're kind of ready to live and die by your goal and your dream, I don't think the universe going to hear you. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's one of those things where, like, you got to believe in it so much, everybody else and then some believes in it too.
Yeah.
at Ligardy Hats. It's LIGARDY_hats. And at Ligardy Hat Shop. That's where we're gonna be able to exclusively buy the products, and only that. That's gonna be a page specifically dedicated to that. And then LigardyHats.com. Those are the three main places and ways to reach me. My email is pretty simple too. It's simply ligardy@gmail.com. So if you ever have any questions or any concerns,
Yeah.
I'm an easy guy to reach.
Welcome to the Artandhustle Gallery of Conversations. Welcome here, Ligardy. I am super excited to have you here. We go way back before all of this COVID stuff that was happening. So I'm super excited. Introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Cool. Well, I'm super excited to be here, guys. It's as Linda said, it's been a little bit of a long time since the last time we've come together. My name is Ligardy. I am the founder of Ligardy Hats. I work over at JJ Hat Center. It's the oldest hat shop in New York. And yeah, man, I've been a thriving artist and an art hustler for as long as I can remember, and that's exactly how Linda and I came together. So
I know, I love it. We met actually back in like my first art show in Gowanus was I think 2016.
Yep. Well, my background, I bounced around a little bit, it wasn't just one place. I didn't just start in one place. I kind of got a little bit of knowledge from everywhere. I primarily, in high school, I went to school here, went to Gramercy Arts High School in the city. And then while I was there, I did a lot of participation in Parsons and FIT along the way, which then ultimately led me to attending Parsons post-high school into college. So I stayed at Parsons for about a year and a half, but then I wanted to pursue the animation side of my career more so than the illustration side of my career. So I left Parsons, and then I went over to San Francisco, and I went to Academy of Art University. And then there, I picked up some animation skills as well as refining the skills that I built up at Parsons. So at Parsons, we did foundation year, and at FIT, it was a little bit of the same thing. But the primary focus that I had at the time was illustration. I draw and I conceptualize really well. So illustration at the time seemed like it was a path for me. But fashion has always been like at the forefront of everything I do. I like to dress nice, I like to look nice, and that kind of carried through my work. So when I got into those fashion illustration classes, it helped me to even further refine my skills in both realms. So
that's awesome. Gowanus, because that's where we met.
Gowanus was the best bit of randomness in like a 4-week span that I've personally ever been on. It all started, I first got back to New York, maybe around that time, late September-ish, 2016. That's around the time when I returned to New York. I was living in California for a very long while. So upon returning, I kind of wanted to hit the ground running. The goal was to return and stay for a little while. We wound up staying for a long while. But I wanted to use all of the knowledge I gained in California and apply it to everything that I was doing here. So I immediately wanted to get into the art scene. So what does that mean? You go out and you meet people. So it all started from going into a live music event where I met Runson Willis, who was one of the artists that was featured at Gowanus as well. He told me that he had a slot available within his section of the gallery for me to come in and display my art. And at that point, I didn't have any art ready yet. It was one of those things where build up the reputation, but I didn't have anything ready at that moment. But once I heard that opportunity, it was just like, you got to get ready or get gone. So I immediately hit the ground. I took the collection that I was working on at that exact moment, and then I decided to use that collection, get prints made immediately, and use that collection within the gallery space. From there, I met Dylan Boves, which you're probably familiar with as well. And it turns out that Dylan was one of the main leads in the operation itself. And then he saw my work, and then he saw a place for me at the gallery as well. Runson left, he went about his own path. He's a musician, so he's always traveling and moving around. So he went about his own adventure, continuing his own adventure, and I essentially took over his space at the gallery, and that's essentially where we met, and that's how I got into Gowanus initially.
Okay, I love it. I always find it interesting to hear like the backstory of like how you get there and all of it. So that's super
That's the best
interesting.
part.
I know it's the best part. Yeah, because like I got in there randomly as well. Like I had just started focusing back onto my art, and
Mhm.
I was like, I have a good collection of work I've been doing. Where can I show it? I really can't do it in these like stuck up galleries and these stuffy ones. It's so serious.
Yeah.
So I'm like, let me just scroll through Instagram, and randomly, Dylan had a little flyer up that said they were looking for artists, and I was like, oh, DM'd him, and he's like, yeah, I got a spot. And I think I literally went to the spot that night, maybe like on a Tuesday or something. He's like, yeah, come by.
Mhm.
And he's like, yeah, we have a show on Saturday. So if you want some space, we got a wall here.
Mhm.
Right? And I was like, oh, okay, maybe I want a wall, but money was really tight at that moment. So I was like, I don't know if I can afford, a whole room as opposed to a wall. But after seeing the wall and then a room, I was like, okay, I'm gonna risk my money. If I can just sell a
Mhm.
painting, maybe
Mhm.
work out. And so I risked the money that I didn't have, got a wall, got a room, and then literally I had my first solo art show that I curated by myself there. So it was literally random, probably like within like a couple days, I put it all together. And then
Right.
that's what you saw.
Mm. That's pretty good for a couple days.
I know. That's what I mean. I was like,
Pretty
oh,
good.
okay, the show's Saturday. All right, I guess I'll just get my shit together and put it all together and put it up. And, like, I guess I've been just ready and waiting for the perfect opportunity to just put it, set it all up.
Somewhere.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I think it was a beautiful collection of people.
Oh
And
yeah.
the camaraderie and like the friendships I feel like we made at Gowanus is like beautiful because everybody was so supportive of each other, and we're
Oh
still
yeah.
supportive of each other to this day.
For sure. I kept up with almost everybody over from the gallery,
Yeah.
including yourself. And then the other night, maybe right before, 2 nights before the launch, I was going to IKEA. I was trying to find some stuff over at IKEA. And of course, I went by, the giant mural that we have outside of Gowanus.
Yeah.
And do you know, not only is it still there, but it has not been harassed by these super toy graffiti artists like that are just running around. They
Yeah.
haven't defaced it. So I was
Yeah.
just like, yo, like this is unprecedented because this is since 2016. So for it to not be touched, ruined, defiled, like
Hmm.
this, which means people had a lot of respect for it.
Yeah, I
Um,
totally agree. I saw it recently too, maybe like a few months ago, and I was like, oh my God, it still looks exactly how we left
mm-hmm,
it.
mm-hmm, yeah,
It's amazing. It's literally amazing. I'm so happy. And I did an interview with Dylan on here as well. And
nice.
I think who else did I did a couple of people from the shows. I got to get Boogie and Rez on here. But like
Mm-hmm,
Art and Hustle literally started after Gowanus because I was inspired by all the people that I had met there. And
mm-hmm,
I want to hear your story of like how you do your hustle and how do you get your art out there and like
right.
what it takes. And then we can inspire other people who are younger than us and also help them with our tips and tricks. Because
Right.
like you said on a text with me that you saw me do my show there and then it inspired you of like, you know what, this is amazing, I'm going to get my stuff together and make
Oh
sure
yeah.
all the details are presented.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like it with like, when you telling me just now that you set it up in about like 2 days, it's one of those things where like opportunity is gonna come knocking and you could say, no, I'm not ready and hope that it comes by you again, or you can do the best with the hand that you dealt. And with you, it was the most subtle little thing, right? And I'll tell you exactly what stood out.
Mhm.
You had not only did you have the table. The table is one thing, right? You had the table, but then you also had a couple bottles of wine, a little
Mhm.
bit of candy, a little bit of snacks on the table, and the way people responded simply to having the snacks and the wine, I was
Yeah.
just like, put fucking snacks and wine on the table. Make people, those little intricate details and those little intimate moments. While they're there eating the snacks and enjoying the wine, now you can serenade them with all of the concepts of your art. You can give them something to listen to as well as something to indulge in while they're sitting there with you. So those small intricate details inspired me to, get it, not just get a table, but get a table and make your table more desirable,
Hmm.
right? And then this then, kind of snowballed into other things. Every time I had to put on an art show or a presentation, I want to make sure that it looks the way I want it to look if I were to walk up on it. And
Hmm.
right, what would I do? Because I sometimes my head's a little bit in the clouds. So if it's not very interesting, I'm kind of gonna walk by it. So
Yeah.
what you did was inspire me to make my presentation more interesting, and it's worked wonders. I'll praise you right now. It was amazing.
I love it. Well, that's what I mean. I love to hear the feedback of how you felt when you came into my room, because I
Mm-hmm.
wanted it to be like inviting, and I wanted people to come up to my table. And I had like a little bit of my portfolio on there. I had wine. I
Mm-hmm.
think I had like maybe chocolate covered pretzels. And then I
Mm-hmm.
even had my cards there as well. And then
Yeah.
as you look at the table, and then you can just walk around the room, and then I would tell you a story of like why I started, the pieces and everything. And so it's all about first impression. So if you're going to come out the gate and represent yourself, like make sure
Yep.
it's presented well and professional.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so happy that I was able to do it that way and inspire you and hear the
Mm-hmm.
stories years later. So I love it.
Yep.
And that's a definite tip that we can give out to people. If you're going to do any sort of show, like make sure it looks like presented nicely, some wine, some cheeses, some snacks or something, a little bit of
Mm-hmm.
like a little party favor, anything. It gets the people attracted, and they're like, oh, what do you have at your table? Let me check it out. And it
Let me
keeps them
check it
there
out.
like a few more seconds longer, as opposed to
Right.
nothing and then they just walk by.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. So that's carried through all things, even with now that, we started this last year, started putting on these shows throughout the city here at JJ Hat Center over at the Renaissance Hotel, as well as one of the galleries over at the Navy Yard in Brooklyn.
Mhm.
The whole thing, every time I put something together, you are in the back of my mind. Like if this was like if Linda walked up in here, would she be interested
Mhm.
in my table? Or
Yeah.
like now there's not a table anymore, now it's a room. So now you get really into the complex nature of how do we fill up the entire room? You can't leave negative space, you know what I'm saying? Like
Mhm.
even in your presentation. So
Yeah.
if the room is empty in some capacity, there could be something there. So nowadays, instead of just putting the wine and the snacks on the table, we have a full bar, or we have somebody pouring a specific drink for us. We have saxophonists. We have live musical performances.
Mhm.
We do have snacks and things of that nature. All of those things are your concept, but just now I've added on a little bit, to the
Mhm.
idea. So it all starts with something small,
Yeah.
but then it can manifest into the best thing in the world.
That makes me so happy that you're doing that. And I'm honestly so proud of what you're doing. Like, how did
Thank
you
you.
get to look JJ Hats, and how did you start your hats and this new line that you're doing? I'm so proud of you.
Oh, thank you. One thing kind of holds on to the next. So, as you mentioned, after Gowanus, we all were inspired to essentially build our own basis, start our own destiny. Dylan, for instance, continued to emphasize his art and to get his art into as many galleries as he could, and in all actuality, stick to the gallery artist part of things, super duper strong. You went on to create Artandhustle. And as for me, I kind of bounced around a little bit because my stint in New York was supposed to be something short, but it wound up being much, much longer. I lost all my identification at once.
Oh my
So we
God.
can't, and imagine going to DMV, you can't get ID unless you have some type of ID. So I was now here stuck in New York forever
Wait,
type
when did you lose it?
right around after Artandhustle. I mean, not excuse me, after Gowanus.
Really?
Literally, like yeah,
Oh
and
my
I mean
God.
everything: passport, ID, credit card, everything that had an official license to it was gone.
Wow.
So now I had to establish citizenship here, and kind of start from scratch. So while I was here, I needed work. So I started doing. I was a mover at one point. I was a demolition man at one point. It was going on
You
and
were
on and on.
hustling.
I was hustling, right? More hustle at that point than art. So, um, I bumped into one of my friends. He was getting married, right? And then went to his wedding, and I bumped into one of the other groomsmen that was there. I was going to the groomsmen, unofficial groomsmen, but one of the groomsmen nonetheless.
Mhm.
And I went there and I bumped into him, and he knew that I was interested in fashion, and he knew that I dressed well.
Mhm.
So he said to me, "Hey, LG, I'm on my way out of this store. I got another opportunity somewhere else. You
Mhm.
should take your resume over to JJ Hatson." I'm JJ Hatson. And he's like, "Yeah, on Fifth Avenue." I'm like, "Fifth Avenue and what?" I'm pretty familiar with the lay of the land.
Mhm.
And it never, like I've walked by this place a million times and have never noticed it was there until he
Mhm.
said that it was there. And I was just like, "Oh yeah, okay." Take my resume to JJ Hat Center. And I walk into the store and I come in, "Hey, I'm in for my interview. Shawal recommended me this, that, and the third. Shouts to Shawal. And here's my resume, and I'd like to get a job here." And mind you, I had been getting shut down left and right, left and right. Finding a job in 2016 was definitely difficult because it was as if nobody was hiring.
Yeah.
And then I come here, I drop my resume, and let's just say I never left.
Wow.
It was just like that. When I walked downstairs after my interview and dropping off my resume, uh, I got my hand shaken by one of the oldest members here. His name was Rod, in a way where it's like, "No, you're in, bro. Like, welcome
Yeah.
to the fold," type of
Yeah.
thing. And come back, and then I got, before I could walk down the street, I got a call, "Come back in tomorrow. We start
Yeah.
your training tomorrow," and I've been here ever since.
Oh my God,
And
I love it.
yeah, so it started off a little rough. I wasn't the best employee here, I will say that. I was late all the time. Everybody knows this. And I tell this story because sometimes you have to start off in a bad place to get to a good place. You got to destroy the build. So for me, it was just a job at the moment. There was no definitive value. It wasn't a career just yet, but it gave me an opportunity to use my art in a different way. Like, I was using my hands in a completely different way that I've never used it before.
Mhm.
The art of shaping your hat,
Mhm.
and when you get to kind of express you take your hat from a normal hat and then you turn it into something, you get to express your inner feelings within your hat. Once I started doing that, I was just like, damn, this is just an extension. I would be doing this with a pencil on paper,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
this is now an extension in the physical realm, in the 3D realm, which
Yeah.
is the hats. So as I started to customize my hats and other people's hats, the question that would always get asked was, "Ligardy, do you have your own hat company? Do you
Mhm.
own your own hats? Like, you're really
Mhm.
good at this. You should own your own hat company." I was hearing this so much, but at that point I shrugged it off because I was just like, "Nah, I just work here. This is just a job. I do this.
Mhm.
I like it. I
Mhm.
take pride in it, like I would take pride in anything else." But at that point, it didn't hit for me yet. Time went on, I got more responsibilities, and then now, because of those responsibilities, I was here a lot more. Being here, being fully immersed in it, that question started to resonate a lot more and a lot more, until finally one day, last summer around September, around my birthday, I sat down with another one of our colleagues, Tyler Jordan from Canvas. Remember him?
Oh, yes, yes.
Hmm.
Mhm.
I sat down with him on my birthday on a roof, on somebody else's roof, trespassing like hell in Soho on somebody else's roof. We sat there on my birthday, we smoked a joint together, and I said, "Ty," I was like, "I want to do something with the hats." He said, "What do you mean?" I was like, "I
Mhm.
don't know yet." I was like, "But I want to do something with the hats.
Yeah.
I want to turn the hats. I want to make a movement with the hats because I feel like that's the new extension of me. That's where I'm at with it." And it was one of those things where this was the hand that I was handed, in the realms of cards and stuff like that. This is the hand that I was given. So why not maximize it to its most upward potential?
Mhm.
And then that idea of having my own hat company started to flourish. I started throwing little things. I started doing more repairs on video. I started customizing hats and really taking good pictures and
Mhm.
getting everything ready for what was to come.
Mhm.
And then when I found out that JJ's had never thrown an event here since 1911, since they've never thrown an actual invitational event where they're gathering all their hatters,
Mhm.
I took reins of that, and I made that the JJ Hat Center Hat Conference was the very first time in all of the store's history that they had a gathering of all of the hatters that were shopping. You know what I'm saying? And once I did that, I was just like, oh, people will come and people will show because I'm knowledgeable in this, like we don't get many opportunities to be good at stuff in life. You get like 1 or 2 chances here and there. But when you get that one thing that you're good at, you do it, right? You don't deny it, you do it. And I was blessed to be good at hats in any and every capacity when it comes to knowledge, history, customization. The only thing I haven't done is get that degree from FIT for millinery, and that's definitely on the way too. So that's essentially that's the birth of Ligardy Hats.
That's
I put
amazing.
everything behind it. I put some money behind the production of the hats, and I
Mm-hmm.
made the hat that I would want to buy.
Yeah.
And subsequently, a lot of people agreed, in that style.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So.
I think it's so beautiful because I've been watching it unfold on Instagram, and I was like, oh, Ligardy's having an event. Oh, check this out. And I would like see, so I would always see it and see it. And I'm like, this is amazing. He's doing the hats, he's throwing some events, so I think it's beautiful to have the vision and see you evolve it and then take action and do it and like follow your talents. And I love the concept of you molding it, and it's an extension of you now. And
Right.
when we met, I always saw you having great fashion, and you have a charisma and a presence to you when I met you, and I loved it that I always supported you in whatever you were doing. I'm like, look, all right, whatever help you need, whatever you're doing, I support it. And your energy was always good. So I'm super happy for you that you're doing this. And I was like, well, we got to get, a chat with you on the podcast to get your story.
Oh, yeah. It's a long time coming. It's a long time coming.
It is a long time coming.
We've been trying to do this, but I'm like, I think that in a sense, I'm happy that it's getting done now.
Yeah.
Right. Because back then, back when we would have done it before, I didn't have anything to show you guys yet.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
One of the biggest things that is a big relief for me is now, post the event, I have tangible physical product. I'm going to show you guys. I got the 3 hats. I got the 3 main hats right there.
Yeah.
And I'm going to show you guys in just a second, but I have actual tangible products. So it's just now, it's not just me talking about it. I live this, these are real things. And I can show you guys in real time the beauty and the nature of the concept that I'm building. So I'm happy we're doing it now, I got something to show.
I know, I loved it. And I saw your reveal. I saw that you had the boxes, you had the inventory. I was like so proud and happy. So I love for you to show us, like, how did you get your concept and then to samples and then to molding it?
Yes. Okay. So we're gonna go through let me grab a couple items real quick. We're gonna go through the history real quick. So the first thing is I'm not a milliner. I'll start off by saying that, and I would never claim to be a milliner in any capacity because I haven't earned that title yet. It's coming, right? So I have to start from somewhere. Being that I'm an illustrator, always start with a drawing, a concept, right? So drew the hat out, and the concept comes from a lot of the inspirations I get in media from hats. I like the flat brim because I've watched wrestling as a kid. I love The Undertaker. I love Zorro. I love that mysterious kind of like a extra dramatic element, that flair for the dramatics that they had. So that was a lot of where I got the inspiration from. I love Indiana Jones, and the fact that no matter how many times he fell off of whatever he fell off of, the hat would stay with him and the hat would stay intact. So that's where the durability of the hat is a factor for me. The ability to have your hat in rain, sleet, hail, snow, and know that it's going to be okay is a big factor for me. And as a hat buyer myself, I try to buy from the perspective of what quality of hat and what I like specifically about the quality. So this here is essentially the Ligardy Mark Zero. The reason I'm calling it that is because as I kind of grew into the shop, the guys knew that I liked the flat brim. I'm the king of flat brims in the shop because that's my look. It happened accidentally. One of my hats got wet, put it on the table, and it became flat. But when I put it on, I was like, I like this. And so when this hat came into the shop, they decided to name it the Ligardy.
That's so cool.
Yeah, super, super sweet of them. So in honor of that, I was like, okay, I'm gonna really do this flat brim thing. So these sold out, like in like 2 days.
How
We
many?
didn't order a massive run, but like we
Yeah.
must have ordered 3 of each size, so about 15 hats
Yeah.
sold out instantaneously for the
Mhm.
store. And
Mhm.
that's when I was like, oh, I think people might like this
Yeah.
flat brim hat thing.
How
Okay.
many sold out?
All of them, all of them of this model. This
Yeah.
model's gone. You can't even
Yeah.
get this shit anymore. It's
Oh.
crazy.
Mhm.
So then, I started designing my own hat. This is one of my very first ones,
Yeah.
in my favorite color, and this one is kind of from scratch.
Mhm.
This is what I based my concepts on, my drawings on. I just happened to have a piece of felt fabric that I was able to then press and
Mhm.
reshape until I got this proper shape. So this hat is done correctly, but this is prototype, prototype, prototype. And from
Yeah.
there, I started refining things. So when I sent in the drawing to the manufacturer, I asked for specific things. I asked for the binding on the edge so it could retain its shape a little bit better. I asked for the minimalistic aspect of not having much going on the hat. We took away the bow. We added something called the X system. Just I retooled the
Mhm.
hat to be
Mhm.
my hat,
Yeah.
right?
You
And
put
in
your Ligardy
turn,
stamp on it.
right, in turn, a lot of people just liked it. So we continued moving forward. And then this is the final stage of everything and what everything came down to. This is the Ligardy hat Mark One.
Mhm.
As you can see here, we got that binding on the edge so that the
Mhm.
shape can stay intact. It also is a good aesthetic choice too. And then we have the X system, which is a replacement for the bow, so that you can put feathers, pins, and all types of other
Mhm.
small trinkets on your hat without necessarily having your traditional hat bow.
Yeah.
This hat, anybody can wear it, whatever, whatever, wherever you are, whatever you're wearing, the hat can be changed, right?
Yeah.
So if you see this hat here, this hat has no shape. This is what's called open crown. Open crown means it hasn't been shaped yet.
Mhm.
Back in the day when somebody used to buy a hat, it used to come like this, and it would be up to the wearer to tell the person that's selling them the hat how they want their hat shaped, and they would get it shaped on the spot. I'm
Mm.
bringing that concept back because I feel like that forms a bond between the buyer and the wearer. I mean, excuse me, not the buyer, the wearer and the hatter. The hatter
Yeah.
that's selling the person the hat. It
Yeah.
creates a bond between them, and they get to have an extension of themselves on their head, on
Yeah,
their
and it's
hat.
customized.
It's customized, right? This is the first thing people see when they see you. So the hat is an extension of you. So when they
Mhm.
see you and they see your hat, they can kind of, they know that you're a little, like you're conscious of yourself to the point where you're invoking your own essence onto your
Mhm.
garment, onto your hat,
Yeah.
onto your jacket. I feel like people who wear custom things, they're
Mhm.
well aware of every detail of their body to the point where they want to extend themselves in their specific unique way. And
Yeah.
that's the full essence of everything. Interchangeability and customization is the forefront of what I stand for and what Ligardy Hats as a whole stands for. So
Mhm.
this is the model that I ultimately came up with. It went through a few prototypes, and after a little bit of feedback from everybody,
Yeah.
I had the final concept down packed. And this is what we have, this is what we have here.
Yeah.
The hat can be reshaped and retooled
Mhm.
to fit any occasion. We have the center crease shape right here, that's pretty
Mhm.
standard. And
Mhm.
then we have the teardrop shape, but this one's special. This is the LG style teardrop, which is a combination of two shapes, the telescope shape and the teardrop shape. So this is what's called a telescope teardrop.
Mhm.
And this is the shape that I've become almost infamous for. This is my personal favorite shape. It's the
Mhm.
shape that I almost want to put in every single hat. And through that, I've mastered multiple different hat shapes and kind of created a few of my own that don't necessarily exist in
Mhm.
this world yet. So I've gone off the rails with this.
I love it. I love it. How many different types of hats, designs have you done and sold?
Well, I've sold the first maybe after we launched in February, the
Mhm.
first 15 hats that I ordered, those are all gone. And
Yeah.
those have all been uniquely shaped to the wearer's request.
Yeah.
Some people take the shapes that are already. Sometimes I had a couple of them that I shaped already. Some people bought those. Some people bought them and kept them open crown like this and didn't shape them at all. And then some people had me do some interesting things with them right on the spot. So we've sold 15 of the prototype or the first run, and then of these brand new ones that I just released, we've already sold 3. And these are the highest end versions of that one, the original one that I brought out, and people are loving it. People are, I have a few people that are on a waiting list to buy them. I have about maybe 10 or 15 people that are interested. They haven't pulled the trigger just yet. It's a premium product, so when you want to spend your money, you want to make sure you collect every bit of detail you can, so you're not spending your money incorrectly. So I have a few people waiting to buy it, and then out of the other ones that I've customized and I've custom made, those aren't for sale. I made those for me, but I have about 20, I want to say 29 unique different hats, individual shapes, colors. Some are ordained in many different ways. So yeah, I got about 29 in my personal private collection. And then we've at this point we've sold over 20 individual Ligardy hats.
That's amazing. And what's the price range, so we can have people, if like they want to buy one from you, what's the price range?
Well, for our premium fur felt model here, which is going to be our flagship model, it's a $500 item. Now, some might be saying to themselves, oh, the tag is a little bit high, but we're talking about a product that might literally outlive you and that you could essentially pass on to the next generation. And that's the emphasis behind the reason why I went with a higher end product rather than just simply doing wool. Wool is good too, and I do have a wool version of this in the books to come out, which will be a little bit cheaper. That one will be around the $300 mark, but the premium fur felt is going to be the most shapeable, the most water resistant versus the wool. As you get better fur felt, you get more natural water resistancy. And like I said, the hat is made with premium silk on the inside, as well as a premium leather band, which is going to help you with keeping your head warm and insulated in the winter, as well as giving you a good grip so the wind doesn't knock your hat off your head with
I like that detail.
that leather
nice
band. And if you have like long hair, for instance, like you, right? When you take your hat off, you probably got a little bit of hat hair, right? The silk lining on the inside helps to take care of that problem. You don't get as much hat hair because it's like wearing a bonnet inside of a hat. You know what I'm saying? So it's like going to sleep with a bonnet and then taking your hair out. Your hair is absolutely fine. So between all of the premium content that is involved in this, and you have Western weight hat, which means it's going to be very durable in most situations. The hat is built to last you, personally wearing it every single day, easily 15-20 years and beyond. If you're a person who's a little bit more meticulous and takes care of their stuff like me, the hat's going to last you. The hat's going to outlive you, literally. One of the things that people have gotten out of the habit of doing is getting premium items and just getting the cheapest thing that they can on Amazon for the low. That's cool too if you want a temporary item. But anything that you're gonna get that you want to last you a while, a personal item, in my opinion, you gotta pay a little bit more, because that's when you're gonna get the better quality of whatever item it is you're buying.
And I like the inside. You said there's like leather on the inside, right? Because like that's a problem with a lot of hats these days, that you put it on and then like a strong wind comes and it just blows right off.
I just for just for demonstration's sake, I wear my Ligardy hat to work all the time, and I ride my scooter at over 20 miles per hour with my hat on most of the time. A little dangerous, but when I'm going over that Williamsburg Bridge and the wind is kicking, my hat stays on my head the entire time.
Really?
I have videos of it. I have video proof. I have videos of it.
You tested it out?
I spent the whole summer testing it out, right? I took one of my hats and I told myself I wouldn't fix it. I wouldn't do anything to it. I would just wear it for 3 months straight. Get it wet in rain, let it dry. My green Ligardy hat has gone through it.
Yeah.
And that color is not available, but I was testing it out. I was field testing it, army testing it. The hat is solid.
Yeah.
I've made sure that I built a good hat.
Hmm.
I hate flimsy things. I
Hmm.
hate something that you get and you drop it the first time and it's over, or you wear it one time and it's, oh, I don't like flimsy things.
Yeah.
So I've gone out of my way to make sure, because when the first prototype came,
Hmm.
it was a little flimsy. I'm not gonna lie, and I wore it, and I was just like, "Nah, we need something a little stronger." The
Yeah.
second prototype is the one that I field tested the entire summer, and
Mm.
the third version of it is stronger than that, supposedly. So
Yeah.
I haven't tested that out just yet, but I'm pretty sure if they're basing it off of what they did with the second one,
Yeah.
and they feel tougher than the second one. So I'm gonna go ahead and give a thumbs up on that. If I was buying this hat and I bought the previous version,
Yeah.
I'd feel comfortable buying this newer version because this newer version feels a lot more hardy than the first version did, or
Yeah.
the second version rather.
Now, is the
But
hats
yeah,
imported, or where's it imported from?
these hats are made by our good friends over in Canada. Shouts to McGill. McGill is a cool manufacturing brand out in Canada. They make tons of different hat items.
Mhm.
And the reason I'm shouting them out is when you talk about somebody believing in you, you're going to go through that phase where you're going to find one person that believes in you more than anybody else. And
Yep.
McGill has been that person for me.
Hmm.
I met them through the store and working through the store. When I got a little better at things, I was helping to pick the incoming product for the store. So I
Hmm.
got cool with them through that. I started talking to them. And then when I presented them the concept of the hat,
Hmm.
they were like, yes, they were fully behind me almost from
Yeah.
day one. There was no convincing needed. So when it
Hmm.
came time to putting something together, they were absolutely essential in me building this brand and building it. They literally had my back no
Hmm.
matter too thick and thin throughout this entire thing. So
That's
they're getting imported from Canada. So not too far, but far
yeah.
enough.
Yeah. That's awesome because like it's
Yeah.
about relationships that you build with
Hmm.
people, and then the trust level that you build with people, that you
Yes.
know the consistency, what kind of energy you have, what kind of
Hmm.
person you are. Because like what I loved also is like you're genuinely a good person. So like people will
Oh, thank you.
trust you and you have great energy. So like I know like wherever you're gonna go and work for, you're gonna put all your energy and passion into it.
Hmm.
So I'm sure
Hmm.
like the manufacturers were like, no, we love it. We love your idea. And I love that it looks like it's also, is it unisex, the hat?
Oh yeah. It's unisex. It's every sex. It's all
Mhm.
sex. It's
Yeah.
sexy. It's everything.
Yeah.
It's there's like the hat can be worn because it's so moldable and shapeable. There's not necessarily one group of people that's gonna look good in the hat. You
Yeah.
make it look good for you.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm saying. We even have I have a this is the one that I've been showing so far is the Mark One. We
Hmm.
have the Mark II, which looks like the Mark One. It's a lot. The Mark II looks like this one.
Okay.
A lot less trim, a lot more minimalistic.
Mhm.
It's just hat. It's the
Yeah.
pure embodiment of
Yeah.
there's no trim, there's no
Hmm.
binding. It's
Hmm.
super duper clean.
Yeah.
And then the Mark III is going to be a short brim version
Hmm.
of the hat.
Yeah.
You can see it. I did a collaboration with my friend Terrence, the Ascot father. He's an Ascot designer out here. We did a collaboration. He's the first person that has that. We sent that over to France
Hmm.
with him. He just went to France. They love the hat.
Love it.
So yeah, they safe to say the Mark III is on the way, and the Mark III is going to connect a lot more with the older demographic, the traditionalists
Hmm.
that wear fedoras, but it's going to give them that flair of the modern aesthetic, the modern hatter aesthetic
Hmm.
that I'm trying to push. So when he took it over there and got good feedback from that, it's a go-go. The Mark III is definitely on the way. It's going to be a shorter variant, same concept. You can reshape it, you can retool it however you want. So once the
Hmm.
Mark III comes out,
Hmm.
you'll have everyone essentially will have full range. My
Yeah.
goal is to be as inclusive in a way as possible,
Hmm.
where you don't need a specific outfit, you don't need a specific look, you don't got to be a specific height, a specific weight, a
Hmm.
specific gender, nationality, color. You put on the hat and you turn the hat into you, an
Hmm.
extension of you. So
Yeah.
whatever it is you're coming with is what the hat will end up leaving with.
Yeah, yeah. No, I totally see it because the hat had like, I love the simplistic one, and then you have another one that has the additional like binding, and then the brim.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's such a, it looks like a classic design that will go
Mm-hmm.
with everybody. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
really picky, and I'm in fashion as well, so I approve. I give it the Art Hustle approval right there.
Hell yeah, that's you know what I'm saying. That's what I'm talking about, and that's the thing. It's like, it. The hardest part was essentially making something that is not gonna just be trendy. Trendy
Yeah.
is fine. You get your little licks in, you get your money while the trend is hot.
Mhm.
I want this to be timeless,
Mhm.
right? I want this to be one of the things every hat, every 10 years, every decade, there's a hat that defines the decade
Mhm.
from the 1900s all the way up into the 2000s. And it kind of dipped after the 70s because there were different hats. So technically, even like the modern baseball cap would be a hat that encapsulates the decade, but people
Mhm.
don't really count it. But any real like I'm a baseball cap collector at my
Yeah.
core. That's where I started with
Yeah.
hats. So any real hatter will tell you the modern baseball cap and its
Mhm.
invention, the modern fitted cap,
Yeah.
was a revolutionary thing
Yeah,
for what
people
it
take those
was.
hats seriously.
Yeah, oh, I certainly do.
Yeah, they take it
So,
seriously. They have a whole collection of them because it goes with their sneakers, you know?
right, if you're
Mhm.
a sneaker collector, you're probably a cap collector as
Yep.
well, aka what I was
Yep.
doing many, many moons ago. But
Yeah.
I want the hat to define the decade. When
Mhm.
you think of 2020 and beyond,
Mhm.
the 2020s, right? And
Yeah.
then that's where we're at now. When you think of the 2020s, I want you to think of me.
Yes.
You
I
know,
see it.
I want you to think of me.
I see it.
I want you to remember this little red X.
I love the red X. I love the red X. The other thing I also see is that with the red X, everybody can like customize it to whatever
Hmm.
they want. So then you
Oh
can
yeah.
expand this to accessories that people can buy
Hmm.
as additional, to the hats.
That's the goal. So let me show you guys a little something. So the Red X, I'm gonna give you guys a little brief demo of what it does. We call it the X system. The
Mhm.
X system, like I mentioned before, is somewhere where you can house small accessories. So for instance, a feather, right? You take this feather. Normally you would have to stick it between the bow of the hat, and you could only pray that the bow has enough space for you to put the feather in all the
Yeah.
way without the feather falling out.
Yeah.
We created a foolproof system where once you put the feather in there, there's no gust of wind that's gonna come by. The gust of wind gonna take the hat and the feather before the feather flies away.
Yeah. Yeah.
So with the X system here, you can take the feather and you can insert the base of the feather underneath the X. Let me pass it through. Hold up. This that angle that I was trying to do it from was a little difficult. But the X system allows you to put the feather, slide the feather right behind the
Yeah.
X, just like that.
Mhm.
And you could do it from if you're going sideways like that, you could do it from the side, or if you're going from the top, you can do the same thing. And it all depends on you. You know, some people like to wear their feather up. Some people like to wear their feather going towards the back so
Mhm.
that it looks like they're in constant motion. So
Yeah.
you can attach feathers, you can attach pins. Terrence and I, the Ascot father, we've been working on an all silk attachable and detachable hat band. We did one in concept for the first release, but
Mhm.
we went back to the drawing boards, got some feedback, and we're going to release the full concept sometime this holiday season.
Mhm.
So at that point, you'll be able to switch out your hat bands. It won't just
Yeah.
be whatever color it comes with. It'll be a myriad of different colors, as
Mhm.
well as going to be a myriad of different patterns made of 17 mommy. That's the highest grade of silk that you can get. 17 mommy silk. Shit's going to be crazy.
Mm, I'm excited. I'm excited to see the new evolution of this. And
Yeah.
the lining that you have inside, is it always red or is it different color each time?
It's gonna be, for the most part, for the general releases, the standard hat, it's gonna
Mhm.
be red.
Mhm.
I think that the red is the strongest color. It gives an essence of luxury, of
Yes.
strength,
Yes.
of boldness.
Yeah.
So we're gonna, and then it's subtle. You know, you only see it when
Yeah.
you turn the hat over.
Yeah.
It's like a thing of beauty. So when you put your hat down,
Yeah.
somebody catches a glimpse of
The
that
red.
red and
Well,
gold and black
the
on
red,
the
yeah,
inside.
exactly. Well, I love that you said that because the red, gold, and black there makes it seem more luxury. It seems
Mm-hmm.
expensive. It's kind of
Mm-hmm.
like those shoes where they have the red bottom.
The
So
red bottoms,
the
right?
red bottom ones,
Yeah.
it's expensive and it's exclusive, so it's
Mm-hmm.
an exclusive Ligardy hat. So I'm happy that you're going to keep it that way. That way
Oh
people
yeah.
always know it's like your stamp.
Well, the other part too is, right, the red lining on the inside and the red X kind of go in tandem with each other, right?
Yeah.
It's as if the red is so powerful from the inside, it's piercing through and coming out as the X on the outside. That's why there's a little bit of robustness to it. There's a little bit of curvature and a contour to the X. It's not just a static X. It's not sewn on. It's not anything like that. It almost looks like the X is oozing out from the inside of the hat. And that's one of the things that I wanted to show too. It's like a, you know, it's a beautiful thing.
And the X is original to you? Was there other hats that came like that before, or no, this is a Ligardy stamp original?
Oh yeah, we're gonna see a couple people try to imitate. I've already started seeing a few people sprinkle it. I got Mr. 3X man on Instagram, 3X's up, but like the concept of X is definitely an original idea. It hasn't been done before, not in this way. You know, people usually put they ordain their hats with different stitching just as an aesthetic thing, right? This is not just an aesthetic thing. This adds a level of functionability to the aesthetic choice. So the X adds an aesthetic extension to everything. So no, this is me.
I love it. We got the exclusive here. So when everyone starts to knock you off, they'll know that it came from you first.
Yeah, you guys can borrow it, man. Just as long as give me a little credit. You know what I'm saying? We can both stand on the stage together. That's all. You know, you borrow my concept by all means, because we're an evolution as artists. We're going to constantly be an evolution of the artists that came before us. That's what inspiration is about. Now we're in the realms of people getting mad, taking this and taking that. If you're not making art in any capacity to influence and what's the word I'm looking for? Inspire people.
Inspire people. Yeah, that's the whole point.
What are you doing?
Yeah, exactly.
You making art to be selfish? You're making art for yourself? No, you make art for other people. So I make this for the people.
Share it and inspire.
Take my idea and make it better if you can.
That's literally the whole point, and that's literally how I get inspired to do things. Because if someone did something that inspired me, and then I can do it better,
right?
You know, like you inspired me that I want to do it, and then I want to put my Lindalcheung stamp on it. So I mean, technically these days everyone's done everything, but it's also how did you do it? How did Ligardy do it? How did Linda do it? And that's how we make it unique. So that's also one advice that I would give to people. Some people are hesitant and stop themselves from doing something because they're like, oh, well, everyone's got a podcast. Oh, well, someone else already designed it, or they're this type of art, but they should do it anyway, because if it speaks to you and it speaks to your soul, you should do it anyway, because it's going to be unique to you.
Exactly. And that's the thing. It's just like we're taking the concept of you simply buying a hat, and now you're buying your hat. You know what I'm saying? No other hat. If you choose to maximize what the concept of Ligardy hat is, you'll never walk outside and find somebody wearing the same shit you're wearing. And that's what everybody is afraid of in the world of fashion, is bumping into somebody wearing the same outfit as theirs. Not with my hat. You know, even if the fit's the same, you know, your shape is going to definitely be different. Every shape is unique to you because it's unique to your crown shape. It's unique to your head shape. So, you know, there is no biting, there is no stealing, there is no taking. You got your hat concept and I got mine. And unless it's shaped specifically by me, it's just another hat.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's kind of like Erykah Badu and her hats. You know what I mean? Like, she makes her wardrobe, her hats, her accessory, her jewelry unique to her.
Exactly.
You know, so that's what I see for yours too. Like your hats are going to be unique to each individual. So fantastic. Fantastic. So you have to keep me posted on your next event, because maybe one day a Lindalcheung is going to pop through that door.
Oh no, I'll keep you and I'll keep everybody posted. Now that you know, this last year was a little bit of an experiment to see if I could actually do this. We've had 5 successful events, with 3 of them selling out completely and then selling out twice. So safe to say, event coordinator and event planner is definitely going on my resume, because that's something that I find myself being very in hosting, is being very capable of doing as well. So there are going to be tons of other events. And I have an even better opportunity for you, because this is something that I've been thinking about about for a while, and it's something that I wanted to reach out to the Gowanus crew specifically
Mhm.
and get them involved in, because I want to reward, like the faith and the belief that we all had in each other.
Mhm.
I want us to come together again, like you guys did the World Trade Center situation,
Yeah.
where you guys did that. That was absolutely unprecedented. That was amazing. I want to get something. I want to get the Avengers and the band back together one more time,
Yeah.
right? This time, what I'd like to do, right, and while I have you here, is I'd like to use the bottom of the brim
Mhm.
and get some custom art made specifically. So now these are going to be premier one-of-one items that we collaboratively make together. But I would love to get some art. You specifically painted that controlled chaos. I
Yeah.
want that at the bottom of the brim,
Yeah.
because one of the things that people do is they wear their hat like this,
Yes.
and
Oh,
that
I love
shows
it.
a whole lot. I want to get you on this. I want to get
Yes.
Boogie on this. I want to get
Yes.
Dylan on this. I want to get the band. Anybody that
That
was
would
a part
be,
of that core group, I
yeah.
want to get back on. I want you guys on the bottom of these
That would be
brims.
beautiful, and I see it already on the hat. I because I love black, white, red, and gold.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be the essence of how I would draw the bottom of it, black, white, red, and
Mm-hmm.
gold. I would do it.
Yep.
And I have a whole collection that I also did that was like super minimalistic, that I want to do literally an art show with the art, but it's black, white, red, and gold. Like the
Let's
whole
get
show
it.
of my art looks like that, with like gold leaf and like little bits of minimalist, whatever. So we might
I
have to
know you
do a
could do
little,
it.
we're gonna have to do a little collaboration,
Yeah.
Ligardy and Linda. Well, we
Right.
also want to let the people know that, we're gonna have hopefully like a show eventually coming up. So we'll let the people know when that will be soon, so
Yes. For
definitely.
sure. Yeah, that's something that I definitely, I was waiting to get here to tell you about that, but that's something that I'd like to conceptualize together with you,
Yeah.
because I think that that would be absolutely amazing. And we make this an event exclusive.
Yeah.
You can only either get this at the event itself or
Mhm.
from our respective web shops
Yeah.
for whatever the premium is, because these are going to be one of a kind collector's items, one of one,
Yeah.
once they're gone. And the thing is, right, even the art is going to be unique. Each piece of art is going to be unique at the bottom, type of thing, and each shape is going to be different, because everybody's going to want something different for their hat.
Yeah.
So I think that that's something that we
I
should
love it.
definitely
I think
do.
that's beautiful idea, and I'm completely down for it. I totally support you. So I'm there. I'm
Yeah,
excited.
so yes.
Look at
Yep.
that, an exclusive announcement. The Gowanus group with Ligardy Hats. We're gonna all collide together with Art and Hustle, and everyone's just gonna
Come back. Come back. Let's get it.
and that's literally the essence why I love the Gowanus group too. Is because like there was like no judgment. You walk in there was no judgment, and everyone just loved and supported whatever your art was, whatever medium you use. We were just supportive and interested in like finding out
Hmm.
what you're doing. How can we help you? That
Right.
end of the day was always like, how can we help you also? And I feel like it still goes to today as like me starting the podcast. I'm like, well, I want to get everybody's story because the foundation of that is just so beautiful.
Yes, definitely. And when we go back and we all tell our stories, we're
Mhm.
all gonna remember that time and go honest, you
Yeah,
know?
exactly. And like the funny thing is, when I started the podcast, my original idea was like, what, I really want to start an Art and Hustle documentary on Netflix of how I started Art and Hustle and what inspired me. And literally, when that happens, we are going to go back to all the Gowanus people, and we'll go into your studio that you're going to have somewhere on a penthouse with a
Hmm.
beautiful view. And I'm going to come in
Hmm.
with my camera crew. I see it, Ligardy. I'm gonna come in with my camera
I
crew. I'm
see
like,
it
all right,
too.
so let's take a little tour. Let's get to, the hats and whatever else you're working on. And
Hmm.
I have a little like documentary that's eventually gonna be on Netflix. So I'm calling it now.
That's right. Call it now. That's what you gotta do. You speak to the universe straight, but you
Yeah,
gotta bust your ass to make it happen. You make that
exactly.
wish at 11:11, at 11:12, you hit the road and you
Yeah,
start to make it happen.
exactly. So like since this COVID had happened, I had that idea. I'm like, well, I can't do that right now because of COVID. What else can I do? That's how the podcast started. If I can't get
Hmm.
to all the artists, we're going to do it on Zoom. And so like that's how the podcast started, where I'm like, well, I'm just going to do on Zoom. What can I do that's free? I'm going to do Zoom that's free, and we're just going to use my Mac, computer, and then I'm going to teach myself how to do, the edits. And
Yeah.
that's how I did the ground running. So it's like over 100 podcasts that I did, and it's just going to
Mhm.
keep going. And I feel like
Yes, it
it's
will.
like an endless project because I love hearing people's story. And to me, like,
Mhm.
art is healing, and I feel like every story will help and every story will
Oh
heal.
yeah.
So one of the
Yeah.
questions I also ask people is like, how did art save you?
How did art save me? I grew up in Bushwick when Bushwick was really Bushwick before everything went down. It was so Bushwick I decided that I had to leave to find somewhere else because things seemed so desolate, right?
Mm, mhm,
Art saved me by making me feel like, I always had art was my hero. Art was my protector in subtle ways and in direct ways. If I wasn't at art school, if I didn't stay for those extra classes, if I didn't have art school on Saturdays at FIT, if I wasn't doing that, I'd be in the fucking streets. Excuse my language, for lack of a better term. I'd be in the streets doing whatever it is a young 14, 15-year-old could do.
yeah.
And, even when I first got to high school and I was in a specialized art high school, I took it for granted. But what I used to do when I cut school is I used to leave school and go to Barnes and Nobles and sit there and read and look at art books. I was teaching myself. So
Mhm,
art has always been my canopy.
mhm,
And, because I didn't look like, I'll put it blunt, but because I didn't never look like anybody out in the hood, I never got bothered the way most guys would get. Most of my other friends they never looked at me that way because I never looked different. I didn't look like your typical hood dude. Until this day, I still don't.
yeah.
Because I was unique and because I was focused in something that meant something more than all the hood politics that were going on,
Yeah.
I never had to even see half of the stuff. And because I had good enough friends to know that I wasn't about that life and I was heading in a different direction, they supported me, they motivated me, they shielded me, they sheltered me,
Mhm,
right? Because they saw that an artist was walking through, and the only reason why he's here is because of the circumstances. And did he leave us? No, he stayed right here with us. And now he's our beacon. If he can make it out, if he can do it, then maybe he can show the next generation
yeah.
that they don't have to be a victim to their own circumstances. That's the thing. It's like that mantra, like one of the things that I got a commercial coming out soon. And one of the very first lines in that commercial is I have, I have a creed, I have a mantra that I would never let my own personal circumstances define who I am and who I can be. And I hope that if nothing else, if you hear nothing else that I say, hear that. Because the moment you let your circumstances define you is the moment you become your circumstances.
Yeah.
And art never allowed me to do that. Never allowed me to have a dull moment where I could let my environment, I was never in the spot that I was at. My brain was always somewhere else in the universe. I
Mhm,
was a big daydreamer as a kid. Like I was never here
yeah.
like that to begin with. So that's how art saved me. It allowed me to move almost like a phantom
Mhm,
through my hood without being noticed, without being bothered, without being pried for anything. Like it was, people saw it, and people, to this day, people see it. And I get a lot of people just like, damn, I'm glad you're still doing good things. I'm glad you're still being positive. Because for me, the last year, I thought it was over. I thought the game was over. I thought I reached that point of no return. I had no other options. Everything was in the worst place that it could be, and I was at the supreme bottom. But there's only one way to go when you hit that low, and that's up. So art saved me by letting me know that my dream hadn't died,
mhm,
and it allows me to continue living my dream and be as youthful as ever. Because the type of problems other people have,
mhm.
I don't have, because I'm focusing on something else.
Yeah.
There's something bigger than me out there that
Yeah.
I'm trying to get to. And that's how art saved me.
I love it. That's a beautiful story. And that's going to be like the intro to all of this because, like that's the essence of like finding out like where you became. And also like, your like, do your mom and your family support you as well?
They've always supported me, right? But when you can't show nothing,
Hmm.
it's hard for you to go out and tell your old school OG family members from the island that you're doing A, B, and C while it's still a concept, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
One of the crowning achievements and moments in my life was on last Saturday when we did the launch and
Hmm.
my mom showed up to the launch
Hmm.
and she participated in the raffle.
Mm.
Why was that such a moment for me was because my mom is here tangibly living within something that I created with my own hands.
Yeah.
I planned that event out to the T. It
Yeah.
went off without a hitch. We sold out twice.
Hmm.
Like, and here she is in actively in real time
Hmm.
immersed in this. She
Yeah.
sees the hats. She sees all of the people that showed up.
Yeah.
Now she knows what her son has been doing all those nights coming home at 4 o'clock in the morning,
Yeah.
5 o'clock in the morning, right before she got to go to work.
Hmm.
It seems like just careless running around as a young adult to the older generation.
Yeah.
But now it is tangible. I
Wow.
have something to show them.
Yeah.
So yes, they've always supported me, but they
Mhm.
didn't know what the hell they was looking at until they had something to actually see, which is what I have now.
Well, so then this podcast is like perfect timing then, because if that just happened this past Saturday, and now you can live through it to talk about it and tell other
hmm
people about it. Did she also
hmm
go on to shows of yours too?
She did. She was
Did.
she was there the first day.
Mhm.
She was there the first day, but because knee problems and stuff like that, I only think you didn't get to meet her directly. You
Yeah.
came maybe 2 or 3 shows after that first
Yeah.
time that I was there.
Yeah.
So you didn't get to meet her directly. I think you might have met her. She stopped by what the hell is
Yes.
that place called? When you on Broadway, that show on Broadway, the Art and Hustle show at
Oh wait, the one in the Empire State Building?
no.
Oh.
The one in Bushwick. The one in
Oh,
Bushwick.
Bushwick. Oh, I don't remember. Oh,
It was, it was
um,
on Broadway. It was at the art studio underneath the train tracks on Weirfield. The name is escaping me right now. It
I
was
think I know what
run
you're talking.
by
I think I know what you're talking about.
Carlos and Janessa.
Image Gallery.
There we go.
Image Gallery. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because I was
She
like,
came to
I remember meeting your mom at one point, right?
yeah, she came to Image Gallery real quick. She
Mm-hmm.
stopped by and then she stayed there, said hello, and then her ride came and then she left. But
Yeah.
you met her at Image Gallery, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm glad she came to one of the Art and Hustle shows there. And then she's
Mm-hmm.
gonna be able to see you on a podcast, seeing the
Yeah,
whole verge and the birth of Ligardy as he becomes, shooting through the stars, and these hats are gonna be a staple and they're
I'm
gonna keep
trying.
selling out. I see it, I love it, and I support it. Anything else you
Yeah.
would like to let the people know? Any other tips and tricks and life advice to
Well,
stay on track?
oh shit. Stay away from people who don't support you. And that
Mm,
doesn't mean you don't have to be their friend or you gotta stop talking to them. But when you're carving out your own path, you're probably gonna be on this journey a little bit by yourself. You're gonna have your support systems and stuff like that. Hold on to those things. But everything is just stay focused. You know what I'm saying? Like you'll have time to chill, you'll have time to party, you'll have time to do all that. But build yourself so you can not only support those who support you, but be a beacon for them when they need you to be a beacon for them without directly having to like
mm,
you don't got to pay for nothing. But if you can inspire somebody to get the money and get up and hustle themselves,
yeah,
that's also a gift that you can give to someone else. So
yeah.
focus on your goal, focus on your dream, and that you know what I'm saying. You got to live for it. You got to breathe it every single day, and it's just like until you're kind of ready to live and die by your goal and your dream, I don't think the universe going to hear you. You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? Like it's one of those things where like you got to believe in it so much everybody else and then some believes in it too.
Yeah, yeah, I totally
Yeah.
agree. Totally
Yeah,
agree.
but other than that, the only thing I gotta say is keep up with us, guys. Keep up with Art and Hustle, keep up with Ligardy Hats. You guys can reach out to me anywhere in any place. I am on Instagram. I am on YouTube. I'm about to be the first hatter on Twitch by this weekend. Hopefully nobody gets this idea and tries to steal it from your boy before this weekend. We'll be the first hat on Twitch. We're gonna be we're on all other social media platforms that we can get our hands on. LinkedIn. You can also just visit me directly at LigardyHats.com. That is a thing. LigardyHats.com is a magical, beautiful website. Go check it out. Put my heart and soul into, my cousin and I. We grinded it out. We made that website as pristine, as easy to navigate, and as clean as we possibly could. So please show some love. Go check out the website. If you feel inclined to buy one of the Ligardy hats, we have over, right on the website itself, with all 3 hats, all the sizes, all of the shapes that you can put in there. There are over 250 different combinations that you can make on the website.
Wow, love it.
To the point where they stopped me from adding more categories.
They're like, that's it, no more.
That's it. Yeah. So I maxed out the unique. You can go crazy on the site. Yeah. And then if you want some internal advice, give me a call or come check me out. I'm at JJ Hat Centers every single day, except for the one day they make me take off because I can't work 7 days a week.
What is your handle so that people know how to find you on social media?
Oh, easy peasy. I'm probably the only Ligardy out there. My handle on Instagram is at Ligardy Hats. It's LIGARDY_hats. And at Ligardy Hat Shop. That's where we're gonna be able to exclusively buy the products, and only that. That's gonna be a page specifically dedicated to that. And then LigardyHats.com. Those are the 3 main places and ways to reach me. My email is pretty simple too. It's simply ligardy@gmail.com. So if you ever have any questions or any concerns, I'm an easy guy to reach.
Yeah, and that's a great tip for people too, is keep your handles all the same. I can't stand it when people have like this name, that name, or a number, and like it's all like just confusing to me. I'm like, no, that's a tip right there. Make sure all of your handles, all your social medias are all the same name. So good job there.
I didn't think about it that way, but it just makes everything a lot simpler.
Well, I appreciate you did that, because I would have been like, Ligardy, what are you doing?
Should have heard my old email address. I'm not gonna share it with y'all, but
okay, well, there you go. I'm proud that you have kept it all the same. I'm so happy that you joined me here, and I can't wait for the next show. So keep me posted for the show, so I can help you promote it and do a little surprise pop-in visit to one of your shows.
Oh yeah, if we have it our way, all things continue to rise as they have been rising, we should be having one of these shows every month. So every month I want to provide you guys an opportunity to we can get together and hang out. All the events, we always have live music, raffles. I like making sure everybody leaves with something and has tons of fun. So every month we're gonna try to do something.
Yes, definitely keep me posted. I definitely want to come and support you.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much for joining. Have a great night.
Thank you for having me.
Bye.
Peace, guys. Have a good one.